Hello, welcome to our VR closet. So, I was about to stream AMS 2 or Automobilista 2 beta, but seems it's not allowed to stream it. So, yeah, I guess I just do a recording of my first test here instead. That's a bit dodgy, I think, why they don't let us stream it. So I have done just some setups and mapped my wheel and pedals. And one thing I could actually show straight away, controls. This is exactly as in Podcast 2. I can't use my Club Sport Wheelbase 2.5 profile in AMS 2. For some reason, I'm only allowed to use the manual H shifter with that. I can't use any of my sequential shifters with joy to key if I don't put in custom. First thought it was a bug when I just went out on track and checked so everything was mapped all right, and I couldn't gear with any sequential. And then I remembered I had to switch in Podcast 2 to this custom make. So not sure why that is, but with the custom it seems to be working to get my gears in with joint key in with every shifter. So, but yeah, that's just one thing. I'm not sure why they put this gaze thing up sometimes either, because I have turned that off, but yeah. So race menu, and we can just try race day. There are a few things I want to check out. Sorry for my voice, I'm having a bit of a cold, but I will try to do this the best I can. There are some trouble areas in Podcast 2 I wanted to check due to the Madness engine, so that they haven't carried over, or if they are carried over, I hope they will iron those things out. So and that will be one thing I'm gonna do in this video, and also just the feeling, what I feel about physics and force feedback. And I'm using the Fanatec Club Sport 2.5 wheelbase. So let's see what to go out. This is a pretty cool one actually, so I think I can take this. The ARC, and yeah, Curitiba is a pretty nice track, known from both AMS 1 and also Racer 7. Really like this track, and that's one reason I really love AMS 1, because there's a bunch of different car classes and also a bit more uncommon racetracks that you don't see in every other sim, so I think that's nice. Okay.
Get ready.
And here comes actually my next point directly here. I have set to manual, or manually, yeah, I can kill switch it, but to manually start my engine, but it still started without me doing anything, and that's also as in Project Cars 2. So that's something I hope Risa Studios will fix, because I have buttons mapped for it and I would like to use them. I really looked forward driving Risa's cars in VR, and now I finally can. And looks really good. That was expected, though, due to the Madness engine. Podcast 2 looks really, really good in VR. Let's see this one. I have mapped, and I also checked to not use any HUDs, but this small thing here is still there, so I guess it's not an option to take it away right now. So let's see if we can start the car again. And, not sure what kind of gears it is in this one. Is it yeah, it's a sequential. So the steering doesn't follow my in-game, or my real steering doesn't line up. I'm just gonna check. Can I do that here? I wonder if it's something in. I did set up my wheel, and I did a 900 degree rotation and also the steering lock, so it should be matched, but I'm not sure why it doesn't match up in game. I'm not sure if it's I know Race Room has this. I could Race Room only use 360 degrees rotation, and maybe it's the same in AMS2. We'll check that. I have a preset for that. Yeah, that seems to be better. All those cables look really nice. And the feet are a bit weird. Like going through the front panel, but I guess those are just small fixes, like visually. Getting like the force feedback. I can feel it's like having different resistance levels, but I don't really feel anything like road texture, or even when I go over the curbs I don't feel anything. So I will go out and check force feedback. So I have raw, and I haven't messed with anything here. Custom, raw, immersive, informative. So we'll try. I can try informative and see what that does. Getting pretty heavy oscillation and shaking on the straights. Hardly that, it's like a steady. Maybe a bit more on on this setting. Not much. Just try here to push the car a bit. I felt a bump, but yeah, it's not really informative. What goes for the force feedback? I can't really tell what the car is doing. Let's go out and try immersive as well. Maybe on some curves I could maybe feel just a small tad on this informative compared to the raw, but really not much. So I'll try the immersive one. I will actually try, I know I have a setting there as well with the damper on. Still get this vibrating shake thing. Gets a bit lighter here on the grass. So yeah, otherwise maybe a bit. I think this one, the immersive one, was the best of the three, but I can't really say I get a lot of information in the wheel. So that's maybe if it's possible to tweak it. This is just the stock setting, but out of the box in the three different options there, I can't say I'm thrilled of the force feedback. Compared to Podcast 2, I would actually say Podcast 2 feel better. I'm using one of those custom, not Jack Spades, one of the others like this force feedback mod though. So I can't remember how it felt before that, if it was anything like this or... So for some reason my mic on my Rift S stopped recording here, but what I said was I can't really remember if the stock force feedback on Podcast 2 were worse or better than this before I started using I used Jack Spade's force feedback mod before this new one for a long time, so yeah, I can't say much about that actually, but not that impressed of the force feedback so far. Maybe it's possible to tweak it, I'm not sure, but those three like stock settings you get isn't that good. And so for the next testing here, I'm gonna try. In Podcast 2 there is an issue with puddles. No matter what speed you go through a puddle, you still get an aquaplaning even if you just crawling go really slow. So I will check that and see how that is handled in AMS 2. So I'm happy to report that puddles do work in AMS 2. If you slow down, you can go through the puddles without any issues, compared to when go really fast. You really feel the pull of the water giving you an aquaplaning if you go really fast. So that's a positive thing that this is fixed or didn't carried over from Project Cars 2. And so to another test here. It's the collision physics, or car-to-car collision was funky in Project Cars 2. The cars were too light. They can bounce off and fly up in the air and just go mad when colliding. So that's what I will test here. And also here I can happily report that the cars are more planted in Automobilista 2. They feel more heavy, and you can bump other cars and they don't behave like opposing magnets. Feels more realistic and a lot better in AMS2, thankfully. So, my final conclusions. It's a bit of a mixed bag, I would say, so far. There were improvements over, let's say, Project Cars 2. With both the collision, you can feel the car is heavier, so that's a good thing. And also the puddles is another huge issue with Project Cars 2, that even if you slow down, you still get aquaplaning. But that's not the case, what I could notice here in Automobilista 2, so that's also really good. And yeah, one thing I can say as well, that was expected, it runs really well. Really well optimized for VR. I didn't notice any hiccups even in thunderstorm and with AIs, so really good. Visually looks really good. And my settings were on high, some settings low that I didn't think do that much difference, like grass and stuff, and also shadows I think I turned down. But yeah, runs really good. But then force feedback didn't really feel as much as I hoped. I didn't really get any road feel or what the tires or car was doing. It was a bit better with the immersive force feedback setting, and I also noticed that some cars were better than others. The stock cars, V8 for example, but still not as informative as other sims. Sound-wise, I would say it's not on par with Race Room or AMS1 either, I think. Yeah, and then there were like raindrops coming into the car starting up by itself, even though I said I wanted to manually start the car up. And this is an issue with Project Cars that never got fixed, so I hope they fix this, because I want to use my button box. The driver models, but all that is just small things. But this was only the first beta, so yeah, looking forward to trying upcoming updates, and yeah, I really hope they will nail it, because I'm a big fan of AMS1 and I just love their content with more uncommon tracks and car classes. But yeah, this was my first look at AMS2 beta. Yeah, I hope you liked the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I see you in the next one. Take care, bye bye.
Whispering ghosts are hiding in